welcome back to this week's budget review. For those of you who are new to my budget reviews, I picked the Hemlock and Oak 2024 Daily Planner as my budget planner. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it's like I say it every week, it's a mighty little planner, guys. You can fit a lot into this thing, and I love it. It is just gorgeous, and for some reason it really does motivate me to work on my budget. So it has been my go-to since last year. We've had some budgeting issues earlier on in this year, and I'm telling you, if it wasn't for this planner, I would not have come back. I would have been like, screw it, I'm done with that, it's stupid. But I felt guilty by having such a gorgeous planner and not using it. So, yeah, I don't feel guilty about overspending, but yeah, when I got this and I'm not using it, whew, yeah. So, the planner won. So, let's get into this week's budget review. Again, I am back filming, so I'm sorry if sometimes I'm gonna talk about what's occurring now versus what's actually occurring in this week's review. But we're getting closer to what's actually occurring right now, so almost up to current events. And like I said, let's get into this. So we start with this year at a glance page. I like to call this my financial dashboard. I just went ahead and started by, marking all the paydays. It seems simple enough, and it helped me, put ink on the paper. So I like to start with something simple. So all the greens are my paydays. Of course, all the birthdays, holidays, are in purple, so it's just a friendly reminder, this is when this is coming up. I may need funds for it, I may not. I have the large amounts of money in and out. That would be paying the taxes or getting the insurance funds, which come twice a year. The pesky vehicle expenses, that would be your car inspection, registration plate renewals, driver's license renewals. We had that last year. So again, it's a friendly reminder, with the months coming up of like, hey, that's going to be due. So you should probably put some money back for it. That's the purpose of it. Do I do that? No. But that's the general idea. There is just a friendly reminder of like you need to get prepared for this. And of course, the last one that I have marked is the red markings. Those are what I call the focus accounts, and I do mark off when I pay them. And I know I've said it before in previous videos. Earlier on in the year, this page is really boring. Not a lot's happening, but for some reason, like once you do get to, the halfway mark of the year, it starts to, get a little bit lively. You can start gaining insight from it. And just by looking at this, I can tell you, for the first 2 months of 2024, I was doing really good with my debt payoff plan. And I can tell you, from here on out, no. No progress. And I don't know why my credit score is going up. If you would have asked me without me seeing it, I would have told you there is no way that thing's improving, but it is. It shouldn't be. So, yeah. So that's one thing I'm learning about the credit score right now. So we can see I have only paid off one account so far for this year. Compared to last year, I am not doing good, guys. Last year I was like, God, it had to be four that I know of, maybe even 5 by this time. So, yeah, I was knocking them off really, really fast last year. This year is slow as Moses, but that's how I use this year at a glance page. It just kind of gives me just a nice visual, a real quick visual of what's occurring, what has occurred, and what's in the future. So, the holiday plans, again, I'm gonna try not to go into as much detail with this. It's just to give me a general estimate of how much I spend on these holidays, and then that way next year I can start planning for them instead of reacting to them. Just like with Easter, it cost me about $60. So next year, now I know Easter's coming up. I need to have $60 set aside so that Easter dinner doesn't come out of my checking. Instead, it comes out of the savings for Easter dinner. Um, Moving on, guys. Again, I'm trying my best not to ramble. So, because I'm really excited. I'm really excited to share the current week with you, but I have to keep going back through June. Um, yeah, last year's planner had a 2 years at a glance page. They took it out for this year's planner. I'm not quite sure why. I really hope it comes back for next year's version. But, again, this is a set of pages that I wouldn't have even blinked an eye at in previous planners. But this planner was just so freaking gorgeous. I wanted to use every page of it. And it turns out this is 2 years at a glance page is really important for my budgeting system. It's so important that I printed off my own and taped it into the book for this year. So, who would have knew, you know? So, what I did is I take the information from Stebit.com or the Debt Payoff Planner app. Again, I have it linked in the description down below. But what I do is I take all of my credit, the bills and that I have to pay. I punch them all in there. It gives me a debt payoff plan. It's easily customized, so you could do the snowball method, the avalanche method, or you could just go full customized. It gives you a general summary of how much interest you're going to pay, what your monthly payments would be, which then gives you your projected payoff dates. So, like, Mercury could be paid off by October 2025. Cap Q was projected to be paid off by March. I got that thing paid off midway through February. So again, we could see these 2 months I was really kicking butt, and then I just went bleh. it happens. So, yeah, and again, I took it a step further because I do highlight the weeks that I am paying on the account, just so that I can get a nice visual of how long it takes me to pay these accounts. Chase, if I would have been going at the same rate and speed and ferocity that I had for CapQ, I could have had Chase paid off here, like no later than this week in May. But like I said, I just kind of petered out. I just lost momentum. I feel like it started in April, and it just like got worse and worse and worse, and we're slowly climbing out of it now, which is nice. It's a nice feeling. But yeah, so that really added in a month on to what I was paying on that account. I could have had that thing paid off no later than May. And here we are, going to the end of June, and what am I doing? Still paying on it. So, I guess the best advice is not to get discouraged. Again, I told you at the beginning of this, if it wasn't for this planner in itself, this is around the time of where I would have just been like budgeting stupid. I'm done with it because I was just that fed up with it. But again, he's so cute. So I came back. So persistence, guys, persistence. Things are not perfect, and you just keep trucking along. Again, I'm focusing on the needs versus wants. That seems to be my biggest issue. I'm not going to go into as detail of these pages. Again, I'm trying to shorten the length of these videos here, but any of these little coloring sheets, these are from debtfreecharts.com. Heidi Nash makes some of the cutest little payoff things you've ever seen. So, and they're bright and colorful, and they kind of gamify your whole budgeting system. So I did incorporate a couple of those into this year's planner. And of course, we're on round 2 of Detris. We had Detris last year. That was the first round. And with this, it's basically this information, but this is the visual for it. So, yeah, I mean, I could look at this and be like, okay, next account, we're on the Chase, you know, it's this amount, this is how much I have the minimum, so if I make my extras, and then, you know, just kind of keep track of, like, what the balance is now. I guess this would be fine enough for those who don't need the visual for the motivation. But I mean, guys, like I know I can look at this and see the balances and be like, oh man, that's bad. Let's pay those off. But it's just not enough to get me interested in it. Where I can look at this and go, wait a minute, I have how much debt? There's my debt. That means every time I pay all my cards, I get to color in a block, which for some reason in my mind, and it kind of cracks me up because it does go with the whole emotional spending thing. In my mind, I'm not paying towards my debt, I'm buying a block. I am not buying a block, guys. But to me, it feels like, oh man, if I put this amount of dollars towards this, then I could color in another block. And for some reason, that is motivation enough. And there have been some months of where I've just made an extra little bit of, payments towards my debts just so that I could color in the row. Uh, Again, I don't really understand myself sometimes. But it works because nothing bad is happening. I'm paying down my debt. So to me, that's a good thing. And if I am going to spend money, it might as well be towards this, right? So I want to get back into that because, we can see, again, doing really, really good January, February, and then it just kind of went bleh, okay? I tried to come back in April, and it just, like, this is not enough, guys. This is definitely not enough. This is how much I pay per month, by the way. Last year, I just waited until the end of the month to write it in. This year, I'm penciling it in, and then that way I could color in the blocks as we go, and that's how I'm motivating myself to do those little bit of an extra payment. It may be $5, it may be $10, but hey, if that $5 or $10 gets me a block, I'm doing it. And whoo, okay. On to the actual planner part of this. See, we made it through the setup. Okay, so just a quick summary of this monthly here. I separate the types of bills. What you see marked as yellow, those would be the mandatories, the fixed expenses. Generally, they come with a late fee if you don't pay them on that due date and you don't pay that amount. So like a late fee, late charge. So those guys are yellow for June. What we see in that pretty pink, those are my optionals. They are generally healthy for my budget. So that would be the $5 a day savings goal. I just do those for every payday. And of course the additional $50 every Sunday that I was paying towards my debts. Not this month. Kind of difficult to make those extra payments when you're spending $400 on wants by the 15th day of the month. I am still upset about that. But yeah, no, we did not make any additional payments up until now because of that. So that really, the overspending really does kill your ability to make those extra payments. So fortunately, I think I got that reined in. Going back on track, but again, it kind of makes you a little bit behind because you got to take care of that because we don't want to build up more debt as we're paying down debt. And the last day that Chins would have seen would have been this Sunday, where again, I am somebody who does use credit cards as I'm paying down the debts. It's because sometimes it is worth it to use the card, definitely if there is a really good cashback bonus. To me, if I am spending the funds and I'm supposed to pay it off that day, I'm not supposed to use that card unless I have the funds in the checking account. If it's used that way, yes, credit cards are wonderful. If you're just using it to use it and saying I'll deal with it later, nightmare. They're a nightmare. No. But this is one way of seeing how they can be beneficial because I ran out of photo paper. I love using it for my journaling, and I was able to cover the entire cost of my photo paper with my points from Discover. So kind of helped me get like I don't need it. Like I'm going to survive without it, but I mean, I really want it. And it was a nice way of getting one of those wants without hurting the budget. Okay, so yeah, Bath and Body Works strikes again Monday. Yeah, Bath and Body Works will be the death of me. So yeah, we did it again. We did it again, guys. I lied. Apparently, we're going back to the old ways. Um, Again, I am filming this. It's July right now, so we we are post filming here, back filming. So yeah, I totaled it up again, and it's like, damn it, dude, like $209 at Bath and Body Works. Okay, that $209. Do you remember? Do you remember this? 50, 50, 50, 50. That's your Bath and Body Works is my additional payments. Okay, come on, man. Um, yeah. So no, it's it's not okay, and it's again. I kept asking myself like, why do it? Like I know I can look at this and say, no, that is not good. Whoever's doing that shouldn't be doing that. But here it is. It's me. So I started a. I took a little financial class here, coming up on the end of this one, so it would have been this weekend because I was starting to learn like it's just not even enough to acknowledge it. I really needed to learn why am I doing what I'm doing because it's got to stop. I laugh about it, I do, because it's really the only thing I can do. But that is not good. We are not going to get anywhere with that. Do I love those candles? Yes, I do. Okay, I do. I really love their candles, but I don't need $200 worth. I don't. I will survive. Trust me. I got so many freaking candles to pick from right now that I probably can make it a whole year without buying candles. They were at a really good sale price though, so that's how I convince myself. Coffee fees. What do we got going on with coffee fees? Yeah, so another extra summer expense is the need for iced coffee. Sure, it's cheaper than Starbucks, but it too adds up over time. Yes, I had to redo the coffee. So it's, again, it's nothing compared to the candles. Okay, I don't think anybody competes with the candles. But this is 15, it's every 2 weeks, so that's $30 more now every month that I gotta put towards this stupid coffee, which I guess I shouldn't word it that way. I don't have to, I choose to, but it does make me such a nicer person during these crappy summer shifts. So yeah, that's $30 more. I gotta figure out where that's coming from. Spending is doubled. Again, I can't remember if that's this video. I think it was the last one. I am somebody who could really skinny my way through and just spend like $2.33 at a drive-through, and I could be fine. Really, I'm just trying to get something to put in my body while I'm at work and survive until I get home. So yeah, this is my standard, $3 or less. But again, I'm taking Ray with me, so what I see him order kind of makes me go, yeah, that sounds good. So I kind of like order a little bit more. Granted, it's still under 5. Again, that is like my real rule is it should be under 5, no more than 5 at a drive-through. That's ridiculous. But yeah, when I'm used to spending, like I said, $2.50, it's doubling. It doesn't sound like a lot, but that adds up throughout the month. So tiny purchases are mighty. Summer spending. Moving on to Thursday. Yeah, I definitely eat out more in the summer. Um, I'm just too tired and pressed for time to even think about cooking dinner or doing anything. This Thursday, so this is technically my Friday now, if you want to think about like working Monday through Friday. So this is the last day for us for the work week. During the school year, I am a 2 to 12, but during the summers, they change us to be a 6 to 5. And you literally, like, guys, we are sleep deprived. It is hot in there. It's physical labor work. You are just drained by Thursday. There are no cares in the world. So, yeah, I stopped at Sheets and I was like, dude, they got a 6 for 6 deal for tacos and I'm gonna try it. And I mean, they weren't bad. They didn't taste like tacos. it's definitely not something I'm gonna go out and be like, hell yeah, man, I want some of those Sheets tacos. It's they're not that good, but it was a decent amount of food for $6, and it helped me go to sleep. Did its job, right? Look at this bird's hair. So yeah, Friday. Again, this is when I started really focusing in on some of my spending habits here, because again, Monday through Thursday, I don't really have a chance to think about it. And it seems like the you know what starts hitting the fan Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I've finally narrowed it down. It's not stress. It doesn't even really have nothing to do with sleep deprivation. It seems to be boredom. Like I'm bored. It's where I'm starting to notice like everybody's like doing this for the summer and doing that for the summer, so it's almost like a fear of missing out, but not even really that. It's that like I'm going shopping or buying things to get that dopamine rush of being like, yeah, I did this for the summer. So that's really what I've narrowed it down to. Again, it's what the heck is today? I think it's July 5th right now. So this is like last week for me. But keeping track daily has helped to curb my spending. Because you see this amount here, but I don't really track it in the summer. Like for these days here, Monday I would have just wrote it out, and Tuesday I would have, but I wouldn't have been keeping this total here. I wasn't doing the math, uh, just because I don't trust myself at 3 in the morning to do math. So I wait until Friday after I've got like good enough sleep. And then that's when I start adding it up, and I'm like, holy God, guys, like, we had $9.52 left, so, I mean, I was really cutting it close there. And again, a lot of it has to do with the overspending. Gotta stop. It's literally almost like an addiction. Like, I know I shouldn't be doing it, but what do? I keep doing it. So yeah, I put my stash funds in. That's my extra pay stowaway. I always put $50 in from each check. Of course, the dailies goals. For some reason, I do not miss that. I don't miss it. Like that is something I have to do. It's like I beat it into myself. It's got to be waking up and punching a pig for a PNC or something. But that is always gone in. I've never touched that account. Paid off some bills, Netflix and Hulu, and of course I went into Kohl's and got some tees and shorts again. So that's another extra spending right there. Of course I had to get gas. Do need to drive the vehicle to and from work. I did take Bill out. Bill did want to go to his Valley Dairy, so I did take him, and of course the quick trip to Sheets. And yeah, so we got on the Saturday, and oh Lord, it starts with almost forgot. Wonder what I almost forgot. So yeah, I almost forgot about keeping Discover. Yeah, this shows you like where my brain is. Like I'm trying to read this, and I can't read what I was writing. I almost forgot about keeping Discover for after I got paid. Oops. So glad that I kept the monthly tracker. Yeah, okay, so it may seem redundant that not only do I mark when the bills are due and how much I paid on the monthly thing, but I also keep them on here as well. Because if you remember, I feel like this was last week. Where are you at, buddy? The minimum for Discover was due on the 22nd. But with funds as low as they were, and this is the card that I used during the month, so, I mean, technically the minimum's already paid. But I do want to keep up with it because I don't want to accumulate any more on it. So I told myself, I was like, look, just skip it for this one. We'll pay it whenever we get paid. Yeah, I forgot to write it on here of, this would have been the friendly daily reminder of like, hey, you still got to pay Discover, right? I never wrote it on here. Of course, I went on my little shopping trip there, and since it's the 29th, 30 days in June, I was going back through and was like, okay, rechecking, everybody paid. And then it hit me, Mr. Discover sitting here, he's still blank, he ain't paid. So I did get that payment in, so he's done and taken care of. But it is that easy to accidentally skip one, even though you had good intentions and you were like, "No, I'm gonna pay it on this day." Yeah, so that's why I write them here as well as the monthly. It just really does help make sure that everybody gets paid. And yeah, guys, we can see a lot's going on in July, right? Yeah, there's a lot. I cannot wait to share that. So, getting to the end of June, which seems really calm. It was not the best of months. Clearly, there was a lot of overspending, but hey, I wanted to finish with knowing that there was an attempt. So I figured, you know what? I got the funds in the bank. I am not having a month where I don't pay at all because there was none, no extra payments, no extra payment, no extra payment, no extra payment, no extra payment. And that is not, to me, that's not good enough. So my theory was if I was able to accumulate that much debt in a month, you know, the 400 some dollars of candles, I need to make those extra payments on that card. Because, you know, this is going to get really bad if I don't. So I did. I made all 5 of them at once. And it was painful. It was. I felt a lot better after I did it. But to actually sit down and type that amount in, and I was like, good God, man, like that's a lot of money going out at once to this thing. But that's when it hit me, like, that's why I do those weekly installments, because it is a lot easier to make the extra payments in small amounts. I mean, making that $50 payment is a lot different than doing all of them at once and seeing 250. So it does fall in line with the whole like how extra spending can catch up to you, because you're thinking like, oh, I'm only spending $50 here and I'm only spending $50 there and I'm only spending, and yeah, and then it turns into like, you know, 400 some dollars of candles. Same rules apply to paying off the credit cards. I don't like to make the extra payments every Sunday, but at the same time, it's like, you know what, you know, it went for something good, and it doesn't hurt as much. Where when you see it all together, you're like, damn, dude, what are you doing? But it needed to be done. So I could not end the month of June without making any additional payments. So, like I said, we're still trucking along here with Chase. He should have been paid off last month. But we're getting closer. We are definitely getting closer, which we could see here for lovely July. I've got to see what the new balance is on it, because of course the longer it takes me to pay it off, the more I'm paying in the interest, so it does adjust how much my debt payoff plan was. So he's not really as accurate now. It would be if I would go under and punch in all the figures. But yeah, so I've finally figured out, like, I need to make those focus payments on Sunday. Of course, I have the actual minimum payment, and if I just do one more, that stupid card, and nothing against Chase either, they're a wonderful card. Their little, I don't even know what they call it, credit journey, whatever it is. That thing's kind of cool, and it does motivate you to make some payments on some cards. But I am done paying on Chase. Okay, I am done. So this month, Chase goes bye-byes, right? He gets put, set aside, and I get to move on to the next account. So that's what I've figured out. So like I said, July is starting to look better. I feel like I'm doing better. And I did get a new budgeting, I don't know, I don't really want to call it a buddy. It's a new strategy. So next review, I'll get to share that with you. Just trying to keep up to where I'm at, but yeah, we can see July starts off with a bang. It's gonna be interesting, guys. It's gonna be real interesting. So yeah, with that, this is a great place to close off. Again, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I do greatly appreciate it, and if you want to see next week's budget review, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I can't wait to see you then.